It's time for the Northwoods Cooking Show. Starring Uncle Roy and Miss Callie, the troublemaking dog.
Hello and welcome to the Northwoods Cooking Show. I'm your host, Uncle Roy, and welcome to my kitchen. Say hello. Oh, Kelly Ellie's. I didn't stuff her. But when she passed, though, Craig did have her cremated, her master, and she's in a little container on his dresser. I still have not yet seen the new puppy. He got another lab. Her name is Daisy. Crazy Daisy. She's just wild. He goes, oh, I don't know if I'm getting too old or if I can't remember how I trained in Callie. But he goes, Daisy is crazier than Callie was as a puppy. She's chewing and eating everything. Well, it is a puppy. It's got her baby teeth yet. Her favorite is the socks, moccasins, or slippers, and his bath mat. She just loves to grab that corner and just chew it to pieces. I think maybe she get a bath mat for Christmas. Anyway, in today's episode, we're going to be making tarts. In the traditional old tart pan with the fluted edges and the removable bottom. This is going to be one of our tarts. This will be one of our first ones. And then we're going to make a different kind of tart out of puff pastry. And that's going to be a tomato, mozzarella, and fresh basil tart. And that's going to be delicious. It's unusual way of making it. It's not going to be in the tart pan at all, but it's a tart. So we do a savory and a sweet. Now the first sweet is a lemon tart. And this is similar, very similar to the one I learned when I was in France. And we made the little tiny lemon tarts, individual ones. That was really cute and really nice, and God, those were good. But the crust is not like a pie crust. It's very similar. It's like a pie crust, I mean. But it has powdered sugar in it along with flour too. So it's a little sweeter taste to it. So what we need to do in a separate bowl first is we have 1 egg yolk along with, ooh, I can't see that bright sun. I know I feel it's either I get light or I don't. It's so awkward. And a ½ teaspoon of vanilla. These sunglasses in my own kitchen. And along with this, we need a tablespoon of heavy cream. Twist this up a little bit and just put this aside. Now I got my food processor. My normal size one is broken, so I got my mini one. We need 1 1¼ cups of all-purpose flour. And 2/3 cup of powdered sugar. I got everything out, but I don't have it in order. Oh, helter skelter. And 2/3 cup powdered sugar. 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, then we'll just take and buzz this up a little bit. And then along with this, we need 8 tablespoons of cold butter. And then we'll just pulse this in until you get crumbly like cornmeal. Okay, I got that all crumbly. Then we'll just take and pour in the cream mixture. And we'll buzz this up until it starts to form a ball. And as soon as it gathers up, stop and take it out. There we go. So now we got this all crumbly. You know, this is like a crumbly dough. So it comes apart in crumbly crumbs. We can put this, squeeze this into a ball. You can put this in a plastic bag. And we'll put this in the refrigerator for an hour. And we can take this out. Now it's just been chilling there for a while. Let this sit out at room temperature for like 10 minutes just so it softens up a little bit, and then we can roll this out to fit our tart. Okay, now, like I said, we're taking this and rolling out. And then you can take and wrap this up around your rolling pin. And if you don't get it exactly correct, don't worry. Let's unroll that right into the pan, because I got this on. Just take off your little extra pieces and just fill in any cracks or any holes and trim this up. And then I'll be right back. So now, I got that all trimmed in, pressed in. And you can see, it's a nice little tart shape to it. And then just press your pieces in, a little patchwork quilt there. And we'll just take this tart, put it in a plastic bag, and this goes back into the refrigerator now for another hour so that that butter firms and sets the crust. Let's continue on then with our lemon tart. I got the shell, we have it refrigerated for an hour, I took that out. That's in the oven now at 375 for 30 minutes. We want a fully baked tart shell. Meanwhile, while that's baking, we can make the filling. And we want to put this on a medium low heat. We are going to need 2 eggs and 7 egg yolks. Yeah, a lot of yolks. Okay, now for the filling, we got 2/3 cup of lemon juice. And we have the 2 eggs with the 7 yolks. It took me a while to separate them, but I got them. And let's whisk these up together. And pour that in with the lemon juice. And along with this, we also need a 1/4 cup of lemon zest. It's a little grating. It's about 2 lemons that get zested, and you need about 4 lemons for the juice altogether, approximately. Along with 1 cup of sugar, 4 tablespoons of butter, and there, and a pinch of kosher salt. And put that in there. Now we want to cook this on a medium to medium low heat. Get this all mixed together here. And bring this up to the temperature of 175. Yeah, 175. Until that mixture starts to thicken up. We'll let this heat up. And you want to stir this constantly to prevent it from scorching. And when that's done, we can put that into our baked pie shell. And then we'll be right back. Get a bowl with a strainer. And this is at 175. Put that on top to cool down. You want to crack it if it hits cold water. And we're going to strain this thickness. Because basically what you're going to do is take out the zest. But that zest is in there just to give it rich lemony flavor. Samples. Ooh, too hot. Oh, Callie, where are you? I need to have you do dishes. And into this, we're going to need, that's my clean side, 3 tablespoons of heavy cream. We're going to mix that into the bowl. Now, this is going to take forever, so you want to take a spatula and you can start squeezing it down in through the sieve. Just scraping it down, and that'll get you through the sieve. It takes a little while. That way we get all the zest left behind here, so you don't get that piss in your teeth, because you want this to be a smooth lemon tart. See how that would have been in your pie? You don't necessarily want that. It depends, you know, the recipe you're doing. But for this one, we don't want it. And then you can scrape the outside of your sieve. There we go with that. And this you can toss. And now we need 3 tablespoons of the heavy cream into our lemon sauce here. Oh. That's awfully rich, Callie's. Awfully rich. And we'll whisk this together. Now the heavy cream is going to make it all smooth out, nice and rich. Kind of like when you put butter and your drippings in the pan and it starts making a gravy sauce. That's what this does. The heavy cream is doing to this, making it a rich sauce. And we're going to pour this into our pie shell. And you want to have a cool pie shell. And I just put that in the oven. And we'll let that, like I said, 375, for about another 10-15 minutes until the center is slightly jiggly. You can still, the rest will be firm, but the middle is slightly jiggly. Take that out and let that cool completely for an hour before cutting into it. Okay, now we're back. I can't see. I can see with it, but I can't see without it. We're back to our second recipe, which is going to be the tomato and mozzarella tart. And for this, we're going to be using puff pastry. Now, when you buy this, it comes frozen. And you want to put the whole box in your refrigerator and let it thaw out overnight in the refrigerator. So we want to get this in the day before you make it, so that it has a chance to thaw out. That way, when you unroll it and work with it, you're not going to get all the cracks when you unfold it. I mean, you know, it'd be worse if it weren't. Let's see. I'm going to take and dust a little flour. As they said in France, you want a little cloud. A cloud of flour on your work surface. A cloud. I remember that all too well. That was too funny. And get our rolling pin going. And we just lay out this first one, taking off that paper. And we're going to put these side by side, end to end. Just be a little careful. And put that one there. Get a little more flour over on this side. And unwrap that. So now we have these end to end. And I'm going to get you close up here, and you're not going to be able to see me. So you can see what I'm doing, is what I'm going to say. Okay, so as you see, we got these end to end here now. And I got a little egg wash going here, which is just 1 egg and a tablespoon of water. And I'm going to take my brush, and we're going to take and sweep along 1 inch side of a short side here. Make sure we get egg wash completely on here. And this is going to be our liquid glue, because then we're going to put 1-inch edge of the puff pastry on there and press this together. And then we're going to take our rolling pin and roll this out. Take the pizza cutter, and I also want to trim off this little extra piece here on the edge of the seam from the middle there, just so we have a nice straight even surface. And now, let's see, we want to do 1-inch cut on each of the short ends and on both sides. So you want to go around, let's see, long end first, short end first. Long end first. So we go 1 inch in and cut this 1-inch wide strip all the way down. And we'll do 1-inch strip on the other side. And we'll do this in order. One side to the other, so that we get even sides. I'm just going to fold this out of the way here. And then do 1 inch on the end. I'm just moving that so I don't cut into it. I don't want to cut into it. And it looks like that's what the fold was, so you can always just press it. And I'll seal it together. And let's lift this up a little bit, the ends. I just don't want to cut those long ends off. Another inch. Okay. Now, get our baking sheet that we already have with parchment paper on it. And before we put this together, we want to transfer it onto the baking sheet. I'm not quite 1 inch, so I'm just going to take off. I just want this to fit a little bit better on my baking sheet. And I am just slightly off. So that's no big deal. I can just toss this. I just want it to fit, so that when we take it off, it comes off easier. Now, here's where the gingerbread house making comes in handy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to brush egg wash over the entire tart. I want to get this off. This is our super glue. And actually we can just take and work. We don't have to do the whole thing right away. We're going to eventually, but that's going to dry out by the time we get to it. I just brush generously around the edges. And then we're just going to lay a long strip on top. You can run that up to the edge. And just, we're going to take the pizza cutter and cut off that extra edge there anyway. And then we'll put this one down on it, line that up, and we can just rip that off for right now. And then the short end goes right over the top like that. And we're just going to put a little dab more of the wash under there for glue on the ends. And then that other short piece goes right on top of that. That's like match edge to edge. There we go. Then we'll take and press these strips right onto the edge of that tart, or the rectangle, the pastry puff, and just work our way around, pressing down so that it seals onto that glued. There. Then we can just take and trim off these edges with a pizza cutter. So we get nice clean lines. That's how we do it. Oh, I was reading too much into it. I thought it was going to be standing up on edge, and I thought, oh no, that's not going to work. It just lays right on top of the other, like this. Okay. There we go. Now we brush the entire inside with our egg wash. And what the egg wash is going to do, of course, it's going to make it nice and golden brown, but it's also acting as a glue, and this is going to take and make it, I want to say, like waterproof, basically, because when we put the tomatoes on there, we don't want tomatoes, you know, are just really moist. We don't want the juices to go through and make it a soggy crust. So this is going to keep your crust nice and crispy. So you put this, and now we have the oven on at 425. So you want to make sure that's preheated. I just heard the click, so it just turned off. Then, on top of this, we're going to do 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. Oh God, that's something exactly what I got left. And this is going to go right on top of the whole crust. Now you don't want to get this on the edges, because those edges are going to be the rim of your tart. So you want to take and just press your cheese along the edges on the inside of the railing, so to speak. Because those are going to bake and puff up and form a railing, which will be, you know, like a little wall there around the middle. And the Parmesan and the egg together are going to be like a waterproof cement to keep the tomatoes from getting, you know, the juices into the puff pastry, so it doesn't get a soggy crust. Oh, I want to get that. Careful. That piece of cheese off of there. I don't want any on the edges. I want this to look perfect, of course, you know. You want to be careful just don't get any on the edge, on top of that railing there. Because then when it bakes, you're going to get a little dark spot. Okay. You just got to be careful. Well, it's a little tedious, but it's going to be well worth it for the taste and the presentation, because this is something special you're making for your friends or for your family. Okay, we got that all in there, I think. Okay, we got that. And now this goes into the oven at 425 for 15 minutes, and then we'll take and turn down the heat to 350 and cook another 15 minutes. And while that's baking, we'll get on to preparing the tomatoes. Okay, now we're going to take and do the tomatoes while that's baking. Let's see, we'll put this in the oven, remember, at 425, okay, for 15 minutes. And we're going to put this on the lower medium part. And set the timer, 15 minutes. Oh, this is my Death Star timer. Got it at Wally's, Walmart, or Walgreens. Okay. So we want to have 2 sheets of paper towels on our platter. And then we'll take the tomatoes and cut these up. Make sure to rinse them off. And get that little sticker, if you have any, on there. And you don't want the beefsteak tomatoes, you want like plum tomatoes. You could use Romas, but you're just gonna have to use a lot of them. And we'll just take and, let's see, cut out the core first. And just take the tip of your knife and just go around in a circle. And some people have a little tomato core, it's a little rounded spoon. And then we'll just cut these into about 1/4-inch slices. So there we have our tomatoes on the paper toweling. And we're going to put 2 more sheets of paper toweling on top. And this is 1 pound of tomatoes if I didn't tell you. So I got my little scale here. And it turned out exactly 1 pound. And we're going to press these together until we can just pat dry these. You want to get out most of as much moisture as possible. And now, let those sit. Death Star, 5 minutes. We're going to make up a little sauce here. We're going to put in about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. And you can grab some of that moisture in there, that oil, whatever. That's going to be good for it for flavoring. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And we also need a little pinch of pepper. Oh, I can do about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And about 1/4 teaspoon of coarse salt. A couple more minutes yet on 425. Then when the timer goes off, we're going to turn it down to 350 and do about another 15 more minutes. And then we'll take it out and then we'll put together our tart. All right, now our puff pastry is all finished. See how that turned out? And you got the little rim around the edge there. That's nice and toasty. Now, and we put in you got mozzarella cheese, and you just want to get the store-bought mozzarella, not the ball that's in the water, because you don't want any of that moisture. So you want the dry mozzarella. And we want a cup of this. That's about half the bag. And now we can get our tomatoes that we sliced up. Get those draining on the paper towels. I can just dab it again some more. Get off most of the juices. And then we can just shingle these across the top. Not all, depends, you know, size of your tomato, etc. You can't count to say how many you're going to have exactly. But you just want to shingle these so you get a nice, attractive style. Our oil mixture, we had the garlic, olive oil, and salt and pepper. And this, now we can just brush this over the top of these tomatoes. Then when this comes out of the oven, we'll just take and shred up, do a little chiffonade of basil, which is taking your basil leaves, crumpling them up together, and then rolling them up real tight, and then slice real thin so you have like shredded pieces, and we can sprinkle that over the top. Well, there we go. Let's just put this back in. And this is our very lovely mozzarella and tomato tart. Oh, isn't that beauteous? Oh, beauteous, yeah. Oh, nice little edges to it, nice coloring. Oh, it's pretty. And it's not that moisty either. Can't wait to cut into this one and have a wonderful meal. Hope you enjoyed as much as I do. That'll be our episode from the Northwoods Cooking Show. So, like to say, eat healthy, be safe, and spread the sunshine. See you next time. Bye-bye.